Welcome to Recently Logged, where today we're talking about the best video game you'll never play.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody. Here we are.
We're back again.
We're back at it again.
We're doing a sequel.
I mean...
Cue the music.
Wow. Are we just gonna, for Luke's benefit, we're just gonna perform all of We're Doing a Sequel
Exactly.
from Muppets Most Wanted?
Every part. We're doing the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, I should have first. I don't remember the lyrics that well.
Alright, and there it was. We had to cut it due to copyright reasons, but...
Well, I mean, obviously, it's Disney. What do you expect?
It was a great number. You guys really missed it.
Yeah, I wasn't as breathy as I usually am. But I'd been practicing.
Alright, hi everybody.
Hello.
I'm Micah.
I'm Robbie.
And we're recently logged.
If you want, yeah.
We're a little movie podcast. We talk about little movies.
Not so little anymore, Micah. We're almost at 30K on that Rogue Nation review.
Why Rogue Nation? Tell me, viewers.
Mission Impossible
why
Rogue Nation?
Nation? That's not even the best Mission Impossible movie.
Nope.
It's not even close.
Well, apparently, we should have just done more Mission Impossible episodes, because in our top 5 most viewed episodes on YouTube, we have the Rogue Nation review and the Fallout Redux episode.
Dang. Apparently, we just yeah. Tom Cruise, come out with your new movie so we can talk about it.
We'll just change this into a Tom Cruise podcast.
Listen, all we have to do, we have to call up Tom Cruise and be like, hey, I know you had some delays on shooting.
Hey.
But if you could send me the earliest possible copy of Mission Impossible, that'd be great.
That'd be great. Wow.
Thanks, Tom. Love ya. Bye.
Love ya. Yes. I'm sure that's going to happen.
No, it is. I got his phone number.
It's almost as probable as us having a guest on the podcast.
All right. So today we are talking about Raya and the Last Dragon, a 2021 movie.
Yeah.
New poppin'.
Came out this year.
We've been doing a ton of animated movies, and
we have.
I think that's why we've been performing worse.
Is that why?
Yes.
No one likes animation.
Nobody likes animation.
Animation's for babies.
It's true. I don't know what to tell you. That's why I'm definitely not making a video about Wolfwalker's animation.
Oh my gosh.
Like I said, I wanted to do a live action movie this week because the past 6 episodes have been animation ever since we came back.
Ever since we did Shrek. Oh my gosh. It's all been animated movies. Okay. Well, I mean, animated movies are good. We were on a super long live action kick for a while, so.
Just because of Mission Impossible, I guess?
I mean, yeah, that too. I suppose that since the beginning of season 3, though, it hasn't been that bad. But
we did a WandaVision and then all animation.
Oh, WandaVision.
WandaVision.
No.
Anyway, let's get into the episode.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go over the basic facts of the movie.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get into some discussion about it.
Wow. What a radical formula for the show.
Alright, Raya and the Last Dragon is, like I said, a 2021 movie. It is rated PG. It's an hour and 47 minutes. Its little IMDb description is, in a realm known as Kumandra, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the Last Dragon.
Wow. It's the title, Raya and the Last Dragon, I guess.
Its cast features Kelly Marie Tran, Awkwafina, Gemma Chan, Isaac Wong, Daniel Dae Kim, Benedict Wong. And yeah, that's probably the main cast.
I mean, it's a small cast, yeah.
Yeah. Directed by Don Hall, Carlos López.
Oh gosh, Estrada?
Probably Estrada.
Yeah.
And Paul Briggs.
And there's another co-director as well. Paul Briggs is the co-director.
And John Ripa.
Yes.
So
there it is.
I was trying to think. You said the score was by somebody notable. I don't remember.
Gosh dang it. Who did the score? I was thinking Tyler Bates because I just remembered his John Wick credit.
James Newton Howard.
Yes, James Newton Howard.
What has James Newton Howard done?
He did, dang it, Mike.
He did the Dark Knight
Yes,
trilogy.
yes, thank you.
He did M. Night Shyamalan's Glass.
I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember for the life of me. I was like,
That's interesting.
I remember some of his movies, but
Most of what he's done is like superhero movies, which
yeah. Like,
I mean, it hasn't had time to win any awards because,
it just came out, yeah.
yeah, like it came out a little bit ago. There's been no awards for it. But yeah, that is Raya
Doesn't
and
deserve
the
them.
Last Dragon. Wow, you're making me cough.
Good. Well, actually, not good. But,
All right, do we want to get into our basic
yeah,
thoughts?
let's see what Micah thinks of the movie.
Let's see what Robbie thinks of the movie. What are your basic thoughts on Raya and the Last Dragon?
Well, if I had to open my thoughts with a short summary of what I think of Raya, and the Last Dragon, of course,
And the Last Dragon, that too.
I don't know why. I mean, I'm usually a fan of Disney's animated movies, especially given their catalog up to this point.
Yes, Frozen 2.
Well, maybe not that one. But I don't know. Raya's such an odd film, and you can kind of tell that it was produced during quarantine compared to Disney Animation's other movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, just in general, fluidity of animation and stuff like that, you can tell it's dipped down in quality a bit. But that's not necessarily to its detriment. What to say about the actual?
I'd like to take a moment to appreciate this, though. The last 3 major features that Walt Disney Animation Studios has put out has been Raya and the Last Dragon, Frozen 2, and Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yikes. Yeah, they're on a bit of a weird streak.
But before that, it was Moana and Zootopia. So
Good stuff. I don't know. I always struggle to come up with something to say during this part because I just don't know how to summarize how I feel about a movie.
Wow. But you'd be a bad Letterboxd review.
I feel like my biggest problem with it, I do like the movie. To get that out of the way real quick. I do enjoy watching Raya and the Last Dragon. But I think the story it's trying to tell with Kumandra and whatever, and all the different groups in the world, I think it would have just been better suited to a longer form of storytelling of some kind.
Definitely.
It's just a very dense movie, and it doesn't give itself much time to breathe anywhere.
Yeah, it literally just doesn't give itself enough time to be
which is
really
odd,
good in any element.
It's longer than your given animated kids movie.
Right.
Like, it's an hour 47. It's almost at 2 hours, which is pretty rare for especially like a Disney animation movie.
Yeah, and especially one that plays it straight. It's not a musical or anything.
Mm-hmm. Dang, I miss Moana.
Moana was superior.
All right, well, that's roughly what I think of Raya and the Last Dragon. What did you think of it, Mike?
All right, what did I think of Raya and the Last
Yes.
Dragon? I didn't hate it. I thought it was disappointing. When it came out, I had heard a bunch about it being kind of mid-tier when it comes to Disney. That wasn't really doing the most.
Yeah.
But then it really disappointed me when I got into it because there is a lot really cool for me personally in this movie. I really liked the world that they built up, and I even liked the way the animation looked. I thought I wouldn't like how the animation looked like from a design standpoint.
Yeah,
not
no, I
inherently
thought
a
the art
fluidity
direction was pretty
standpoint.
cool.
And the different locations are all very nice. I love the combat. I like all of that stuff. And I think it could have made a really cool movie, even with the dragons and even with the story idea. I think it could have made a really cool story at any rate.
Yeah.
It probably would have had to be multiple movies to really get this story.
Yeah, they would have had to chop some stuff out to make this what I would think an efficient movie script.
But yeah, at the end of the day, almost every element of this movie, for me anyway, feels super underwhelming. There's nothing to like any element in it. There's hardly any good character arcs because they don't give anybody time. They don't really explore any of the locations or give good world building for how like this entire world works or how it worked before. They're just like, well, here it is, and then things happen. And like there are some funny moments in this, I will say. I laughed a couple of times.
Mike is like, I did laugh. I did laugh. Don't worry.
I think I laughed like 3 times. But as a comedy, it's not very well done because it's not a straight comedy. But as an adventure movie, it's not super well done either because it doesn't really get the adventure movie aspect, like of like your typical quest, go get these items and bring them together while building up a team kind of movie. It just doesn't really get that, and it ends up being a very almost forced feeling aspect of the movie.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that.
But yeah, overall it's not like aggressively terrible.
No,
but it's not good, I wouldn't say.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not as good as something like Moana or something.
Yeah.
Like just to pick another Disney
I would
animated
say it's
movie.
better than Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Well, that's not exactly hard.
Probably my least favorite Disney animated movie ever.
Not Frozen 2?
No, Frozen 2. It's down there, but it's not the worst of the worst. I mean, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Go listen to our Frozen 2
episode. Yeah.
But yeah, those would be my basic thoughts.
Your opening thoughts for the rest of the discussion, Mike.
So now we're gonna get into our main discussion.
The real review.
Where in which we discuss.
Amazing. All right, Micah.
All right.
Do you have a question to start us off?
I do have a question to start us.
What a radical notion.
What is your favorite?
Oh my gosh.
This is gonna be pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Scene or sequence?
I'm gonna go back in time and make myself never say this question. I'm never gonna spawn it on the podcast.
I think you should go back in time and choose a favorite scene or sequence while watching Raya.
Favorite scene or sequence in Raya and the Last Dragon.
I have one.
I mean, I like a lot of the scenes. Do I love a lot of the scenes? You better go first. I might have trouble picking in this.
Mine is kind of lame because I was going to give a reason because I don't really think there are that many great scenes in Raya and the Last Dragon, and a lot of that is because of what I think is part of the problem.
It just doesn't slow down.
Yeah, it never slows down. It doesn't give itself time to have any great scenes. Anytime you think there would be one, there's so much happening that there's no real time for good dialogue, good character growth, good anything.
Yeah.
So, like, I was gonna say my favorite scene was the Boone introduction.
That is a fun scene.
Because I like Boone.
Yeah, I was about to say, it doesn't like Boone.
But, like even, because I love, like, my favorite kinds of movies are just, like, adventure-y kinds of movies. I love the adventure aesthetic. That's
why Ratatouille is his favorite movie.
I like Indiana Jones style things. I love like Uncharted, like all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Adventure, action kind of things. I love those. And even the scenes where it tries to do stuff like that in it, there's just so much always bringing it down from like small little elements, and the fact that they literally give nothing any time to breathe.
Yeah.
So, like, the only one that they really do much like that in is the first stone. I think it's the Talon shard. That's the desert one, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Talon thing. And then, like, because spoilers for the movie, I guess we're going to spoil the whole movie and it's new. So, spoilers. When Sisu is there, like, because she's there, like, it's less, ooh, let's go adventuring, and it's more like, haha, Sisu, you're so dragony.
What? Dragony.
And then the moment they do get to something that looks semi-cool, then Namari comes in and she's like, yeah, what are you up to, Raya? So yeah, that scene had potential.
Why you don't even have to watch the movie anymore.
I could give a summary of the whole movie. I could do all the dialogue myself.
Wow, it's pretty impressive.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Gosh dang it. What is my favorite scene?
I remember last night, or rather very early this morning.
Yes, very early this morning.
You said that the whole Guardians of the Galaxy holding hands scene was one of the best.
I said it is one of the best in the movie. It actually has some like emotion to it.
I don't know. I didn't get any emotion.
Like at least it doesn't feel as earned as it should. Just because we haven't spent enough time with these characters to really care about them.
Crazy.
But I think I would probably cite that as the best scene. It best summarizes the like ideal of the movie, and I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, when watching, I was just never really convinced that like to care. I guess.
See, but I don't know what I'd pick as my favorite. I'd probably pick that as like the scene with the most artistic merit to it, quote unquote. But I don't know. We'll just say that's my favorite scene. I don't have a favorite scene.
Yeah, and
if you want to go for that,
like you just think, and because it's going so fast, like you hardly can even think of scenes. It's kind of just like chunks of movie.
Yeah,
because like you have like the Talon and the. What
I don't remember. I don't remember any of the rest.
Spine, heart. I don't know.
Liver,
lungs,
the spleen.
Why is everybody calling us Muslim?
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So like, you have like these interesting moments every now and then, like the one joke in Spine with the flower guy.
Okay, that was funny. Yeah, definitely.
What's the line? Cause what's the guy's name? It's like Dang Hai. I'm Kai, the flower guy.
Yeah.
That was funny, but it was out of nowhere, and that's probably why it was funny.
Yeah. Dang, I wish the whole movie was like, I wish they would have gone like full on comedy with it.
But yeah, that's what I was saying.
Or something. I don't know, either that or just go full on serious.
The MCU route, and hit YouTuber Houston Cully actually talks about this in his video.
I still haven't watched that.
It feels very Marvel.
It does.
And the fact that they're trying to hit that tone, and they're trying to hit that pacing, that kind of serious, big, grand world, but also having like very... that guy, get those quips and that joke.
That guy.
Like, and even your characters...
Is that the energy?
Your characters can break down into the Marvel tropes, really. And it all feels very... Yeah, it feels very Marvel superhero.
We know that the Marvel stuff can produce a good movie.
Yeah.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy, great movie.
Which is probably the movie you could compare this to most.
It's really funny, but it's also really heartbreaking near the end.
And plot-wise, Guardians is probably the one you could compare to this the most.
That's true.
But you could see where it misses what makes Guardians work.
Yeah.
Because... what makes Guardians work really is its characters.
I was about to say the dynamic that all of them have, and we get to see it play out not just like during the like super plot relevant scenes. Like there's multiple scenes where they're just hanging out places waiting for stuff.
Yeah.
Where it gives them a chance to more flesh out what like the characters are.
Whereas this movie, it doesn't even give you enough time for Raya and Namari's rivalry to make any sense.
Yeah.
And every time they introduce a new character, and like they have really cool aspects. I really like Boone.
Yeah, Boone's such a fun character.
I really like, and even the other characters who I don't like as much.
And the rest of
they add interesting, and they could add interesting dynamics as they play off of each other, because they're all from different areas, they all have different backgrounds, they all have different aspects, they all have different strengths and weaknesses, but they all share the common thing, like in Guardians, that they've all lost people. So...
wow, it really is like Guardians of the Galaxy. Dang it.
But it just doesn't work, and it's not anywhere near as funny or interesting as Guardians. But again, it doesn't go straight comedy.
Well, I mean, neither does Guardians.
Yeah, but like
it's a dramedy.
Guardians is much more comedy than
Yeah,
Raya.
no, it has quite a bit more.
Do you have a question though?
I do have a question, Micah.
Oh, well, you check your stocks.
Check my stocks. What stocks?
Going down in value, Ravi.
I know. What did you think of? I mentioned the general animation quality being worse. What did you think of how it looked, Micah? Like the art direction and the actual animation itself.
So there were a lot of moments where I really, really liked how it looked. I think this movie's got some good use of color. I think it's very bright and like I think the cinematography is even pretty good most of the time.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
There's a couple instances of good, and there's a couple instances of just like it's not aggressively bad cinematography.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This was just me while watching it, and I don't know if it's from, like you said, like the animation feeling a bit more choppy. But I felt like a lot of times the mouths, while they matched up, and like it just didn't feel like they connected, if that makes sense. And I feel like this only makes sense if you're somebody who watches a lot of animation and pays attention to mouths, or even is animated, or tried to do voice for animation. Because there's, you could just throw a voice onto a character and the mouths can match, but that doesn't inherently mean that it meshes.
I think what's off about a lot of the dialogue in this is a lot of the physicality of the characters doesn't seem to reflect the performance as well as it usually does.
Yeah, the physicality of the characters in general is very weird throughout. And I think it works better for all of the side characters. I don't think I have ever noticed that as a problem with any of the side characters. I felt like their physicality matching their voice was very well done. But like Raya and the dad.
Yeah, the dad was weird.
Even somewhat Namari. They all are kind of like, they fall into this weird, like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know how to describe it.
The characters don't really match the performance in a way, but I feel like that's the fault of definitely the animation, like not the animation, but like the people who decided to do that physicality with them, not the voice acting, because I like the voice acting.
I was about to say, Kelly Marie Tran gives a much better performance than I was expecting.
Yeah, no, like I really like the voice acting throughout the movie, but I just
feel like Awkwafina's performance.
Awkwafina, we'll get to Awkwafina.
Wow.
But like, even in this one scene, I've referenced it a couple times, is when the dad and Raya are walking.
The dad and what's her name? The person with the last dress.
Raya are walking down as young Raya, and like they're talking about the fact that the clans, the cities, they're all coming together. I don't know. They're all coming together, and like Raya keeps making like these movements, and even some of her dialogue is all very odd to me. I would cite that as one of my least favorite scenes in the movie, just from the fact of how it feels so off, Like, she's all like, yeah, the two baddest swords are gonna be doing this, and I'm like, what? Like, and she does like this weird like arm thing, and it just pulls me out of like the movie they're going for.
No, that scene is weird. It has a weird energy. I don't know what's up with it.
And then they just turn it into an exposition dump scene.
It always has been.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of if I have another question. What do you think of Sisu, like in general, towards the plot of the movie?
Just as a character?
As a character, how she affects the movie.
I think how to describe Sisu. I actually do really like Sisu's existence in this movie.
Yeah.
She's definitely essential to the plot.
Yeah,
of course.
For sure.
But I don't know. I don't have too much to say about her, really. She just really is there to speak the message of the movie, make a few jokes, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because they set her up to have a character arc, I feel, anyway, but they never give her one.
Oh, did they? I didn't feel that way.
I always felt like they were trying to go for this. She was the whole underdog dragon, and she was supposed to prove her worth or something, but she never really does anything.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, she does something.
She doesn't really
helps.
do anything.
She
uses her siblings' magic, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And that's what that I think plays into a lot of like what we've been saying is the overall problems for this movie. But like I felt it was very weird for her character because I feel like she should be a really important part of the movie, but she really is kind of just there for plot and to say the message of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really add much to the dynamic that they have.
I was about to say, she just kind of is there to say to Raya that she's wrong about her ideology of the world, and that's about it. I mean, she obviously helps them get the other like shards or whatnot, and there's a few instances where like she's there to help them get out of something or whatever, you know.
But like as like chemistry wise to the group, even I feel like she doesn't really add much. She doesn't interact with anybody very much.
I mean, I don't know. She's pretty fun in this.
Like, no, I think the character is fun, but I'm saying, like, for the overall group and, like, for the dynamic, what is she in the dynamic? She's never really talking with anyone but Raya. And her and Raya usually are just, like, Raya's usually just like, that's nice, now stay safe so we can save the world.
Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying. I didn't get what you were saying. I was like, what are you talking about, Mike?
And, like, yeah, I just feel like for as much as this movie is doing, you'd think Raya and The Last Dragon would be the two elements that it really, like,
cracks down on,
to.
yeah.
Even if the side characters, which are good, just kind of got pushed to the side due to time.
Wow.
Like, I feel like Raya and The Last Dragon should have been, like, a big thing. They should have had some connection. Kind of like even to draw back to Moana, obviously you wouldn't do it exactly like that because the dynamics are completely different. But like with Maui and Moana being forced to work together, like, you know, they end up growing into a dynamic together and end up working really well together. But because this movie is doing so much, it never even gives you the time of, like, you know, the time of the times that Moana and Maui grow together, which is when they're on the boat alone with nothing else to do.
It's almost like Raya and the Last Dragon just needed to be made in a longer form of media.
Which is interesting because at the beginning of this video, or this episode, I should say, because it's not always going to be a video. At the beginning of this episode, for our little opening, I said the best video game you never will play. Because me and Robbie picked this apart pretty hard and how it would be.
Yeah, we picked it apart pretty hard.
Not in the episode, I'm just talking beforehand, like, pretty hard on how, like, it would be probably a really good video game.
Like, just to offer some context to that statement, to that ludicrous claim.
Oh, I was about to do that, but go for it.
It's just, this movie does not provide enough screen time for as dense of a story as they're trying to tell. It's this sprawling... like in the movie, it's not sprawling because they don't have the time for that. But like they're going to multiple different locations and they're facing different obstacles each place.
Yeah, they're effectively going across the whole country,
they're adding new team members every time. And it just doesn't... The movie that we have doesn't give any of the characters or locations enough time to feel fleshed out in any way that's meaningful.
Yeah, and even for instance, like, when they go to Spine and, like, they get like, Sisu gets tricked and she's about to die, blah, blah, blah. The evil lady's all like, tell us where those pieces are. And then, like...
Why does she sound like that?
And then, like, 2 seconds, like, literally 2 seconds, it doesn't have any time to breathe, it doesn't have any stakes. Raya just rolls up, bursts through, steals the gem all in one movement, and rescues Sisu. Yeah. And then they just leave. you're probably at Spine for like 10 minutes.
It's just...
And they present these really unique, cool looking locations, like, and that's how we kind of got on the vibe of video games when talking, is because in all of these different locations, and even the vibe the movie gives off kind of feels like video game cutscene level.
It really does. The first time I watched it, I was like, dude, this kind of feels like a video game cutscene.
But
what's up with that?
Like, if it was a video game, it would give you, and obviously other things could work, like a TV show or something could work for this.
Miniseries, something like that. Just something with a longer runtime.
But like a video game, we started talking about how cool a video game with this could be, how you could make it open world, and the different sections you could spend actually a long time getting to know the area, learning new mechanics with each different party member and each different stone. How like even the sword itself is such a video game thing.
Raya's
that feels straight out of like cool. God of War.
Yeah.
And like you have all of these different elements, and even the adventure aspect of the game would make more sense as a game mechanic device rather than a plot device.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just it's so weird to me how well this story would fit in something other than a movie. Right?
Like how much book, TV show, video game, almost any other kind of storytelling would probably fit this story better.
It just doesn't have nearly enough time to flesh out what is a pretty decent, like pretty good story.
Yeah, no, I think that's something that kind of gets missed, because like I think the story itself is cool and I like it, but I don't like how they do it in the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say I liked the idea of like them picking up someone new at every different like place, and eventually showing that unity is what they all needed all along, whatever and whatnot. Like that, the message of the movie. I think that's really cool, but they just don't give it nearly enough time for it to have any weight at all.
Yeah, like Robbie even mentioned for like what are those guys?
What did I mention?
What place is that?
I don't know what you're talking about,
the big
man.
Guys, the guys with the axes. What is theirs?
That is...
It's not Talon or Spine.
Fang, right?
Fang.
Yeah.
No, Fang is cats.
Wait, crap.
Claw.
Claw.
Yeah. That's a thing, right?
I think so. We have no idea.
I think Claw is a thing. I don't know. Tail, maybe?
I don't know. Just continue with your statement. The tough guys with the axes.
Yeah, the tough guy with the axes. So, like, we get to him, and you could do such an interesting... Like, we remarked on this, that you could do such an interesting character. Even if you played it a little bit more seriously or something. Because he's from this group of people that's kind of that Viking vibe of how they're just trained to fight and kill and always face a fight no matter what, for valor and everything. He even mentions valor, and everybody in his entire clan or tribe or whatever, they die essentially. They get turned to stone because there's no stakes in this movie. But
what? There's stakes.
There's no stakes. There's no consequences for anything. But like you have this character that could have this really interesting story because he had a kid. He has this whole thing, and there is there's a baby as part of their crew. So when you connect with them and all of his past, like you could have, Robbie even mentioned like a God of War style story of how this guy who's lost everything and his entire life was nothing but like violence and killing and learning how to do that, now has to be able to come to terms with having to take care of this kid. And it could be like this really, really cool character arc that goes on in the background of this movie. Of this story, because you couldn't include that in a movie. It's just too much. But you could include it in like a video game or a show.
I was about to say, you could just give it, you could just... Honestly, I was thinking to myself, like while we were watching it the second time, I was like, you could just do a show, a mini-series even, where they're just doing a different location every episode and actually give time to like establish someone else's place in like the group that they're, the team, if you will, that they're forming.
And I actually have a question based off of this whole conversation. What do you think of like with all of this that we're talking about, what do you think of like the Avatar vibe that this whole movie has? Like, how do you think that plays into it?
Well, I mean, like it's like I said, it's pretty obvious that The Last Airbender was a pretty I mean, it's a very influential piece of media in general, but it was obviously a major inspiration for this. Yeah. What do I think of that?
How do you think it affects like the movie that's there?
I don't know. I think a lot of Raya's coolest world aspects, like the aspects of the world that I like the most, come from that inspiration. Like, I don't know. It's like tale as old as time, really, honestly. But I don't know. Like, what do I think of that?
Because what I was kind of going for there is like the characters similarly in Avatar. Like in their way the group comes together, the characters all have very similar vibes to the main cast of Avatar, and I
didn't think about that.
The way they all come together in Avatar versus how they try to make them all come together in this movie feels very interesting, and I feel like it plays into how you could have made this like a better story in longer form. Yeah, because like in Avatar, it takes a long time for like any of them to get along at all. Yeah. It's an interesting note. I don't know if I really have anything to say about it. It's just interesting. It just further proves, it doesn't prove, but it further adds to my point that it should just be a longer thing. Like, because like every other element of the movie actually is pretty good. Like this movie is pretty okay. I gave it 2.5 stars, which is like right down the middle of the road, because most elements of the movie individually are pretty decent.
Yeah, like the voice acting is pretty great.
The score is good.
Yeah, the score is pretty great.
The animation, like, it looks visually good, even if it's a little bit more choppy. And like, I don't know. Even the story is cool.
Yeah,
the
world
story elements,
like
are
the story
cool.
concept's cool. The general idea for the movie is cool.
And you have and that's why I said I think this movie feels more disappointing, and the reason I don't like it as much as I probably could if it was even a little bit more put together. Like, if they cut down on just some things and let it be what it is, and actually land some of the stuff, even if you, like I said, have like nothing interesting at all with the side characters or anything, and like just whatever it takes to get at least some semblance of a good emotional core to the movie, because I feel like that's what was missing for me.
Because I mean, Raya's whole motivation for the whole thing is she just wants to get her dad back, but we spent once, although I will say that's the relationship they spend the most time on, surprisingly. Even then, it just doesn't, I don't feel like there's that much stakes there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is no stakes in this movie because there's no consequence. Nobody's dying, they're just turning to stone. And they have a pretty decent, easy to understand for the audience standpoint way to fix that. And I don't know, maybe this movie for me would have worked better because it's only been 6 years in movie, which is very little time in my opinion.
The shattering of the stone.
And like maybe if it would have taken longer, and maybe there's some other side effects, like maybe people, like statues were starting to crumble or something.
Or something.
I don't know, something, because there's literally nothing changes, like, besides just people's minds by the end of the movie, really. Because there are no stakes to it. Nobody dies. Nobody, even Sisu, which I really hoped would stay dead just to punctuate.
Ouch.
No, to punctuate, like, the message of the movie. I thought they could have done something really emotional with the fact that Sisu died because of Raya. And I thought they could have done a really cool, like, heartbreaking almost character moment with Raya, that Sisu's just gone and she'll never be back. Because the entire time Sisu is this very, like, you know, she's fun. She's that kind of goofball character on the team.
Kind of goofy.
But she always, and you know, she has the right ideology that the movie is trying to say.
I was about to say, the movie is like, she is correct in her worldview.
So it would be really I think it would hit harder for me personally and actually give some emotion to the movie if she would have died.
Dang.
And then I feel like that would have actually played to her character of the whole, she was kind of she wasn't the greatest dragon. That then all of the other dragons would be like, she was the best of all of us or something. I don't know. Like,
That's a neat idea. It's a novel idea.
It just bothered me that there are no stakes in the movie for me.
Well, I mean, there are technical stakes. There's no, thing for the audience.
But never once do the main characters even get close to turning to stone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do near the end of the final,
near the very, very
the final
end.
battle, yeah.
But I'm saying just average goings on, the only stakes that they have that's threatening is Fang, and they're not really doing much.
Yeah, no, it is weird. And like I said, in a different medium, that would probably be less of a problem, because there's just more time for them to not be I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Similarly in Avatar, though. In Avatar, the entire time, essentially, they're being chased by the Fire Nation.
Yes. Just
like they're being chased by the Fang Nation.
It was all peaceful until Fang attacked.
When they needed Sisu Most, she vanished.
Yes.
And it's a constant thing in Avatar, though. They're constantly taking...
Yeah.
Every time they take a breath, Fire Nation shows up. Whereas in this, Fang just kind of seems like, yeah, whatever, it's Fang. They have 3 cats. We have 5 people. I don't know why we're even worried about it.
Wow.
And because and I wanted to talk about Namaari too in a second, but because there is no real stakes with Namaari personally, for me anyway, I felt no personal stakes between Raya and Namaari.
I mean, yeah, they don't really give a chance for there to be anything between them.
They're just Raya, oh, Namaari,
I mean, obviously, Raya's upset because she, lied to her
when she was 10,
but
she knew her for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know why it means so much to her when it was only a few minutes for us.
I was going to talk about that with Namaari. Is in the movie, they come over, her dad invites all the nations over, even Fire Nation.
Whoa.
And Fire Nation child Zuko
Yikes.
is all oh, Raya, I'm gonna be nice to you, and she comes off as all innocent, and she's oh, I'm all sympathetic and stuff.
What?
And then she's oh, let me show you the room at the gym just cuz. And then she's thank you, Raya, you've been most helpful. Wow. And then Raya's what? This is crazy. I'm never gonna trust anybody ever again.
Yeah,
and that's her whole character, is that she doesn't trust because Namaari, the person she knew for probably in universe 2 hours, betrayed her.
And once again, in in a show or something, you would have time. Maybe you could have a full day of all of the different peoples together in peace and Raya and Namaari actually getting along for the whole day and whatnot.
Yeah, and you
to actually give it some
and you could have some
stakes,
interesting vibes. Is all of them are on edge, thinking people are gonna make a play for the gym.
And that way, when the betrayal just actually means more to the audience because we've spent longer hoping for the same thing that the dad's hoping for, which is peace. Which is what we're supposed to be hoping
and you
for.
think it might work, and that it's you're maybe they're coming together.
That way, nothing in this movie seems to have the emotional weight that it should. It's like the prequels. The prequels is a great story. The Star Wars prequels.
I would agree. It's very similar vibes to the Star Wars prequels. It's got
an amazing story most of the time, not all the time. But a lot of great ideas. A lot of great ideas for expanding the Star Wars universe and everything, exploring more of the Republic side of what's going on in Star Wars.
Because, like, the Old Republic stuff is the coolest stuff in Star Wars. And I don't think anybody would, if you argue this, I will fight you, because all of the older stories in Star Wars, like the Clone Wars and everything like that, is the cool stuff in Star Wars.
But, like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm glad I thought of this. The Star Wars prequels, compared to, like, the Clone Wars, is a great comparison, because the movies just don't have enough time to fully give how the plot of the movies is so freaking dense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have time to deal with any of it.
And the prequels have other problems.
Yeah, no, they have a lot of other problems.
But the Clone Wars, the show, pulls off telling essentially the same story, and it does it so much better. It's considered one of the best things in Star Wars, and I would agree with that, because the show is actually genuinely really good. The emotion hits, and like all of these moments, even when they go over stuff that happens in the movies, it hits so much harder, because you've spent so much more time with these characters in the world, and you get invested in all of this. So by the end of the show, when they pull the whole Anakin's becoming Darth Vader thing, like everybody obviously knows is going to happen, it hurts a lot more, because you've spent like 8 seasons or something stupid with these characters, and getting to know them and getting invested in them.
But yeah, no, I'm glad I thought of that. That's a great example of what I'm trying to communicate is my major problem with Raya. It's just way too dense for us to get hooked in emotionally or like in any other way, really.
Yeah, and with the Namari thing too, I was actually going to mention before we went off on like the prequel thing, which is a good comparison, I will say. I was going to say even if they had done more after the time jump with Namari and Raya to get their rivalry.
Yeah.
Because the first time they interact, they're like, long time no see. I thought you just missed me.
Hey,
and like giving these like very like long time rival quips to each other. Like they have this kind of energy that you get from like really well written rivals. But it's just it falls really flat because they have no rivalry really. There's no rivalry. She just betrayed her once.
Yeah, like one time after talking about dragons for like 7 minutes.
Probably heavily influenced by her mother.
Yeah.
Because they were children.
That honestly, between the super dense plot and that main rivalry, which should be like the main... I don't want to say the main driving force.
Really, I think
it should be super important.
I think the story should boil down to, because it's what matters to the story, Raya and Namari and Raya and Sisu.
Well, I mean, to make another Marvel comparison, that's kind of what Black Panther does, and I think it does a heck of a lot better than this, where it's kind of... I'm trying to think of how to describe it. But like the rivalry in Black Panther... it's an idealistic rivalry.
Yeah,
what makes it so compelling.
Yeah,
and
they
just
agree
don't
on stuff.
Exactly.
But they disagree on so much.
But in this movie, because that's kind of the vibe that I got from this.
That is a similar comparison in character rivalry.
They have the whole point of the movie is their ideology is wrong. Raya's ideas about the world is wrong, and if everyone just gave each other a little bit of trust, it would all be okay, kind of thing.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like both of their ideologies are wrong.
Yes.
Namari and Raya, and like in Black Panther, where Killmonger's view was just kill everyone, and it's actually interesting because it's the opposite in this, because T'Challa's thing is like, we just gotta. Just I don't even know how to describe what his plan was.
Yes.
But like he sees the holes in his ancestors, his father and their fathers, like way that they ran the country by keeping it hidden from everybody.
Yes.
By keeping all of these life-saving, super valuable resources to themselves. And it's the same reason Killmonger wants to use it, but Killmonger wants to use it to try and take over, essentially, to try and get what he thinks is justice. Yeah, no, it's not like a perfect 1-1 comparison. I just think it's another example of a movie doing
something better than Raya, and it's kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, but like what I was going for was like is that T'Challa has to see that in some instances Killmonger was right. There was injustice in what happened.
Yeah.
And it becomes this really cool rivalry because you have these people who have gone, like, Killmonger's gone too far in one direction, and the entire time they're fighting, T'Challa is even trying to bring him back. He's constantly trying to reason with him, not just be like, haven't seen you in a while.
Dang it, man.
Did you miss me?
I can't wait to rewatch Black Panther. I haven't seen it in years. I want to watch that again.
Hey, we watched that in theaters opening night.
Yeah, baby.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Probably one of the best that the MCU has put out.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any other questions? Because I'm kind of wrapping down on my discussion for Raya.
Last thing I really wanted to touch on was Awkwafina.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that earlier. Awkwafina. Yeah. We did bring up Sisu and her role in the universe.
Awkwafina.
But yeah, what did you think of Awkwafina's performance?
You know, I know a lot of people who were like Awkwafina's performance, and this is the death of cinema. And I really don't think it was that bad.
I don't know.
Sure,
I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought there were a couple instances of being like, I don't like that. Like just in some ways, and how they did her character, how extreme she was. But I did find a lot of the stuff that she said like funny, and I thought that the performance worked pretty decently well. I
thought it was a pretty charming perforance in my mind. Anyway. I don't know.
It got me more connected than like if she was just bland.
Yeah.
And like some of the lines that she said, I laughed at, like the Tuesday thing.
The Tuesday.
And part of that was due to Awkwafina's performance.
Yeah.
I don't think she's the best for emotion.
I was about to say a lot of the emotion. I was gonna bring that up. A lot of the emotional moments. I was just like, ooh, Awkwafina, do you need to practice this a few more times?
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because the other Awkwafina role we've seen her in is The Farewell, which is probably
very emotional
Awkwafina's only serious role ever, and she kills it. Like, she actually genuinely does a really great job in The Farewell. And that's really weird, because most of the time when she's doing, like, her silly comedy stuff, I feel like she's not doing as well acting-wise.
Yeah, I don't know. Her performance is kind of odd in this movie, but not. I wouldn't cite it as bad.
I don't think it took me out as much as a lot of people were saying. Like, I know a lot of people who were saying like, "Oh my gosh."
That's the only reason I bring it up.
Like,
because a lot of people were like,
"Terrible." I can't believe that that they have this movie ruining cast in this. And I really didn't think it was that bad. Like, I was surprised because, like, the first line was the whole Tuesday thing, and I laughed at that the first time it happened.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, like I said, I think for the most part, she's just okay, like most elements of this movie.
Yeah.
They're very half-baked.
And I think, not to get too far off topic, I think Kelly Marie Tran as Raya could have been amazing, but the screenplay is just really holding it, all of the elements in this movie back.
A lot of the dialogue and a lot of the moments are cut. I think she could have, like, killed it. And I mean, she does a really good job.
Yeah, but Raya's just such a flimsy character in this
because
movie.
All of the characters are flimsy. You just don't really get any opportunity for any of, like, the voice acting to really hit hard.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which is why I think Awkwafina's performance really isn't that big of a thing for me, because it doesn't really change much. They wouldn't have had, like, big emotional moments either way.
Like, the movie would have kind of been even if Awkwafina gave a bad performance.
So yeah, I don't really have a big problem with her in this movie.
All right, well, let's get into our let's wrap it up. Get into our closing thoughts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you had to sum up all of your thoughts on Raya and the Last Dragon in 2 words, what would you say?
2 words. Let's think. We gotta give this some hard thought for this 2 words thing.
I actually know what I would do. That's wild. I was just joking.
Interesting, underwhelming.
I was just gonna say lost potential. Sad times, man.
Well, yeah, that's essentially
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing.
It just it really makes me sad when like there are a lot of indie movies like this too.
Yeah.
A lot of independent films I've seen just try and tackle too much for a movie.
But it's kind of interesting too
It's so
in
odd.
that instance, because I think Disney having that kind of problem is done a lot differently than if an indie movie has that kind of problem.
No, obviously the problems this has are a bit different than what an indie movie has if it tries to tackle too much. Most of the time it's more budget limitations than anything.
Which is crazy because like Disney has all of the resources.
Yes. Which, I mean, also shout out to everyone who made this, because they made it at home.
all of the animation and stuff was all done at home, which like
that's
that
crazy.
is really impressive.
That's unprecedented.
And even though, like I said, the animation is a little bit more choppy, it still looks
good.
really good.
Yeah, like
so
what?
like seriously, 100% props to the animators who worked on this movie.
And not to mention all the rest of the crew, too. Like, honestly, in every aspect other than the writing, I liked this movie.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, the screen, if you have a bad screenplay, more than likely you're going to have a bad movie at the end of the day.
Sometimes things can save it, but they're usually live action is better at saving bad screenplays because of like it's usually the actors that save it. Voice acting is a lot different in that aspect.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I do admire what Raya was trying to do. I just think it really falls flat in a lot of ways.
But anyway, we're supposed to be closing.
Yes, go close your thoughts.
So in conclusion, Raya is probably something I won't go back to a lot. I honestly probably won't think about it too much because at the end of the day, it's kind of forgettable. And that's really sad to me because it's a really cool concept in a movie. And like I said, the best video game you'll never play at the beginning. I would like, this looks like a video game I would love.
Stealing my Letterboxd review, Mike.
Like, and at the end of the day, it's not that I'm like angry or anything. I'm just sad because there's so much in this that looks like it could have been great. So many good performances, so much good animation, and so much money and heart poured into the movie. And at the end of the day, it's just not very good, and it's forgettable, and it's probably not going to leave any lasting impact on anything, especially with no big theater release. Like, yeah, it had a theater release, but like it's still not a ton of people. Like, there's no theater hype like there used to be.
The theater hype.
So I feel like this is kind of just going to fall into the background, and Disney's probably not going to do... I could be wrong. Disney could take and try to do, like, spin-offs and stuff with it. But, like, I feel like we've made this cool world with cool elements and cool voice acting and cool everything, and it's just going to die off of its first thing, you know?
You know, I just thought of another pretty great comparison for this, and what I think Raya should do, honestly. Like, if I'm just going for what would be great for, like, the universe, think like a Dark Crystal versus Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, Mike.
They should do
Raya Age of Resistance.
And then it will get canceled on Disney Plus because people are terrible right as it wins a major award.
But like Dark Crystal has kind of a similar problem where it's just
Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, guys. Why did it get
so
canceled?
Good. Oh my gosh. But Dark Crystal has kind of a similar problem. I don't know. They're not important right now.
No, that's a good comparison though. If you've seen Dark Crystal,
if you've seen the Dark Crystal and you've seen Age of Resistance, you know what I'm talking about. How do some of my thoughts on Raya? It's good-ish. I like it. A lot of its elements are competent at worst and pretty good at best. So it's just really too dense of a story to tell in a movie, and that's honestly that's its biggest downfall in my mind.
Yeah, it doesn't recover,
which is so
that.
odd because that doesn't happen for a lot of movies. Like, a lot of movies just get a lot of like technical things wrong, or just a few like elements of the screenplay are bad, just from a conceptual level. But Raya just has this odd problem of trying to do too much and just not having enough time to do it.
Yeah,
and it's just really fatal to its quality, which sucks because I wanted like another Moana, ideally.
Yeah, I really like
where it's just a newer Disney animated movie that's actually like good.
And I don't think Moana is the greatest movie in the world, but we keep comparing it to it because Moana is a movie that's good enough to really be memorable, and it's gone down in like a really positive place in terms of Disney new animation. Mm-hmm. I really like Moana.
It's a fun movie. We should just watch Moana. Watch Moana and Black Panther, and then we'll watch all of Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
And Avatar.
And Avatar: The Last Airbender.
And the prequel.
And not the prequel.
Yes, the prequels, Rappy.
But yeah, no, that's how I would sum up my thoughts on Raya.
All right, well, we're just crossing the hour mark in recording time, so let's get into our what we watched segment real quick, and then we'll close it out. Podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, the What We Watched segment is just a short little segment at the end here where we go over what we've logged on Letterboxd recently. Recently logged.
What?
And we just give our brief little opinions on the movies. It's nothing major, but
when were you going to tell me that was where our title came from?
It's a fun segment. So we're starting on the 31st with Storks.
The 2016 animated film.
In competition with Boss Baby. Okay, so this movie, stupid as heck, but it's so funny. Like, I just say that really quick.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's actually funny, and I don't know why.
I said in my Letterboxd review that it's a masterclass in comedy, and I will stand by that. I actually think that it has great comedy, and that's all it has.
That's all it has.
That's literally all it has.
It also has Jordan Peele as a wolf in this.
That's true.
If you want some Jordan Peele content, director of Us,
if you want the Jordan Peele content, go watch
Storks. This movie is hilarious.
You know, I will genuinely recommend this movie to anyone.
Yeah, no,
it's a good movie.
I don't know what to tell you. It's funny. If you don't laugh at this, I worry.
Wow.
On the 2nd is the next time I watch something, but I'm assuming.
I mean, on the 1st, I rewatched Stop Making Sense
again. Don't comment on it at all. You've said this for the past 3 episodes.
Again, Micah.
On the 2nd, we watched Jurassic Park.
It's
one of my favorite movies.
Why did we watch Jurassic Park?
Because the night before,
right.
I was in the mood to watch Jurassic Park, and then we had time, so we just turned it on.
Maybe you had time, Micah.
I love Jurassic Park. It's a classic. It's probably like what I would call my comfort movie. I've seen it like a million times.
I mean, it is good. I'm not going to deny that. It's one of my favorite Spielberg films.
I give it 5 stars.
5 stars. I gave it a 4.5.
Storks 3.
I gave Storks a 3.5.
So what you're saying is that extra half star you gave to Stork should have gone.
I should have just plucked it off and put it on Jurassic Park.
Also on the 2nd, I watched Warm Bodies for the first time.
Warm Bodies.
Real weird. It was pretty fun.
Real weird.
I don't know. It's hard to talk. I like you could do a whole episode on it. It's really, really weirdly done. But, like, it wasn't bad. It was probably interesting and funny.
Those bodies sure were warm.
I gave it 3.5. It was... excuse me. It was pretty good.
Well, there you go.
Also on the 2nd, technically speaking, even though it was that late, I watched Tangled again. Tangled is never not fun. It's got so much good in it.
It's got such a fun universe, man.
It's got a pretty bad pacing problem. That's about it. But 3.5.
I also watched 2 movies technically that day while you were gone. I watched Cruella in a theater. Good times, I dare say. Good times.
I haven't seen Cruella and I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll probably do an episode on it when Micah sees it. It's good though. Good movie. I gave it a 3.5. It was way better than I expected it to be.
And to keep the fashion double feature going.
Yeah, I was about to say, it inspired me to finally check out Devil Wears Prada. I had been wanting to see it for like forever. But tea break, hold on. Not related to the Devil Wears Prada. It's basically just Mean Girls, but set in a workplace instead of a high school.
And not a comedy.
Yeah, and not a comedy. So, I mean, I admire it for that. I like Mean Girls.
I saw the end of it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I mean, it just is a very solid movie. Can't ask for more. It's my favorite Anne Hathaway performance, if that's anything of note.
The next morning, on the 3rd, I watched Borderline. It's a 50s Fred McMurray movie.
Who doesn't like Fred McMurray?
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good.
Mainly just on a plot level. It was just kind of stupid. Really basic. And I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of it really. It was still enjoyable.
Basic.
But I gave it 2.5.
There you go.
Also on the 3rd, we watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2.
Because we were working on stuff and wanted a movie we could turn on in the background.
Right, and we had just watched Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs the week before.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen the second one in a while. But it's fun.
It is a fun movie.
It's got Chester V. It can't not be.
No, Chester V. Micah.
Chester V. is the greatest character of all time.
Chester V. might be the most irritating fictional character
That's
ever
what
written.
makes him so good.
Although I will say the physical comedy in this movie, actually most of the visual gags and stuff in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 are just as funny, if not funnier, than the first one.
I remember we came up with a good like one sentence way to describe this movie versus the first one.
Oh, it's like an anime remake of the first one. No, everything is turned up to 11
in the physical comedy area.
As for the physical comedy and the general just vibes of the movie.
Goofiness of the movie.
It just feels like an over the top. I remember what I said. I said it feels like a fan made YouTube sequel to the first one, where everything is just crazy and all the characters just seem like exaggerated caricature. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yes, of themselves. Yes, it kind of like that.
Which I would probably agree. I gave it 3 stars though. It's still pretty fun.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars as well.
Pretty fun on movie. The 4th. We watched Raya and the Last Dragon.
Indeed, we did.
Then, technically speaking, on the 4th,
right after
late
that.
Enough, right after we watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar,
which we rented out of a Redbox.
I wouldn't inherently suggest it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely don't watch this unless you're old enough to watch it.
But it was really it was really unique and it was really funny actually.
It's been one of my, I don't know if I'll say one of my favorite modern comedies. It's definitely been one of my favorite comedies in the 2020s era, the last few years.
Yeah.
It's very much up my alley in a lot of its actual gags, especially related to the actual Florida culture and stuff.
This thing is off the walls crazy.
Yeah.
It's going 110% into drugs, I think, all the time.
And that's really what I admire about it the most, is it just it goes for it. That's really
it's got some darn funny jokes.
It had its concept and it just goes for it, and I greatly admire that about any movie. I think,
but it is a little.
It's a little racy. I'm not gonna go off recommending it to a lot of people.
Exactly.
But it is funny, I will say.
I gave it 3.5.
The musical numbers in it were quite good too.
The musical numbers were great. My review for it too was what?
What?
Because that's the vibe the movie gives.
I gave it a 4 out of 5. I said I love the fact that this is in the running for the best film of 2021 so far, manifesting Trish energy for my summer.
Then on the 5th, which was the next day, we watched Wolf Walkers.
The Wolf Walkers,
which I watched it for the video that I'm actually gonna write today, coming on my channel, Imgrove Films on YouTube. I took a month break, everybody, but I'm coming back. I promise. I just gotta get this giveaway shipped out.
We're running with the wolves.
But Wolf Walkers is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
we've talked about it.
We did a whole 5
stars.
Episode. I caught the middle part of it. It's good stuff.
Then what did you watch? I guess the next thing would be that night we watched Aladdin.
Hey.
It had been the first time we'd seen Aladdin in quite a while.
I think it's the first time I've seen it in 2 years or something. I've watched it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't
decently
saying
recently.
Forever. I'm just saying it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Aladdin is still probably one of my favorites of the 90s era Disney. I just really like the songs. I really like the vibe the movie gives off. It's got iconic characters. It's not perfect,
no,
by any means, but it's just, I don't know. I always loved it growing up, and I still love it now. It's very simple, and it has a small cast of characters, and I think that's to its benefit.
I said in my review, how is every line delivery in this movie perfect? How did they achieve this? Like, I don't understand. Like, how did they get that good of a cast who understood the script that well? I don't get it.
Like, there's nothing bad about the voice. It's so good.
Like, every line delivery hits so well. I don't know how they did it. Okay. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Then on the 6th, we watched the 2021 movie The Woman in the Window.
The Woman in the Window.
Amy Adams. Love me some Amy Adams.
Love ya, Amy.
Love ya, Amy, but this movie wasn't it. I had heard it was pretty bad, and it was pretty bad. The dialogue was pretty bad.
Holy cannoli! This is some of the worst dialogue I've heard in a movie in a while.
Was really probably its worst feature, and then like the story itself, just it wasn't a well written mystery.
No, it's bad, guys.
There were some interesting things they did creatively and visually. And, you know, Amy Adams is still Amy Adams. You can't go 100% wrong with Amy Adams.
Yeah, I said in my... I guess I'll just read my Letterboxd reviews for a lot of these. They're really short. Occasionally it does something visually interesting, but outside of that, there's not much to like here other than its general premise.
Yeah, ultimately, I probably would just never watch it again.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it again.
I gave it 2.5.
I will say I did admire its kind of Vertigo-inspired production design. It's cool.
Yeah. No, like there's a lot of interesting concepts in here, but none of it's good. None of it's well executed.
No, not good. I gave it a 2 out of 5.
That extra half star's for Amy.
Wow.
Then later that very same day.
The very same day.
Late enough that it was the next day.
late enough that it was actually today.
We watched John Wick.
Yeah.
For the first time.
For the very first time.
Unfortunately, it was edited for TV.
No.
Which,
no.
to my knowledge, only edited out small bits of dialogue here and there. It was nothing major that it edited. I was actually kind of surprised it didn't edit out any of the gore.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, TV-14 is a pretty flexible rating, and that's what they rated the recut of it, so...
Yeah, but, you know, pretty darn good movie.
Pretty great. I can't wait to watch, like, the regular cut of it, to where you get more of that rhythm that this movie probably should have.
This movie, like, definitely has a lot of rhythm to it, and it definitely goes really fast. Like, I was surprisingly fast for how, like, the length of the movie. Like, we were halfway through, and it was like, whoa.
It's got a great sense of, like, narrative momentum, and I really love that.
But unfortunately, we had ads cutting into the nice pacing.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I didn't know really what I would think of it, because like obviously Micah was gonna like it. He made a John Wick inspired short before he had even seen John Wick.
Well, yeah, but
but yeah, no, it's really good. I don't know if it fully deserved the 4.5 that I rated it. Like, more realistically, if I were to really crack down like on some of its problems, I would probably give it a 4.
Unfortunately, like, it does have some problems here and there, but it does exactly what it sets out to do, and it does it pretty darn well.
Yeah,
so.
I really like the movie John Wick.
Yes, same. And then even later that morning or day,
it was already past midnight.
It was
by
like,
the time we started.
Yeah, it was like 12:30, 12:40 by the time we turned on Raya.
Yeah,
that's why this episode's a little later today, but we've been doing them late anyway. I feel like we should just officially schedule them.
I was about to say I've
12.
been thinking about pushing back the release time to some time like later in the afternoon, like 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, because we're always
we're always
late.
Which I mean is the reason we pushed it to Monday in the first place.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed. We watched some good movies.
We watched some bad movies. You should go watch some movies.
Go watch Jurassic Park. Go watch Wolfwalkers. Go watch John Wick if you're old enough.
go watch John Wick if you're old enough. Exactly.
And yeah, enjoy movies, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.